I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world. I haven't really come out with an appropriate name for my channel. As of right now, I'm still looking for a very catchy name, but this is Benny at the moment. I used to have a previous YouTube channel, but I took it down because I don't want it to be associated with certain topics that could be seen as repugnant and derogatory, and that could really affect my employment or business opportunities in the future. So I had to diversify my channels. But anyway, I want to start a topic about you know, should guys go overseas to find a woman? First off, I'm not married. Still single, but I'm seeing someone now, and I wanted to do some YouTube channels. I mean, do some YouTube videos, but my girlfriend took up a good portion of my time the past few days. And when you have a girlfriend, um, they need the attention, the affection, and the love, and that takes up a good portion of my time and hobbies and so forth. And then, too, I need to be a little discreet because if she finds out what I'm doing, and then I'm in trouble because she's a SJW or a social justice warrior, so I have to be cautious with what content and the words that I use on this platform. But I want to go back to my topic. Should women go over, for men, should men go overseas to find a woman or love or whatever? And the answer to that question, from my experience and observation, is yes. And from my experience, I live in New York City, and we all know that New York City is a very difficult city to find a relationship, to find love and compassion. I mean, just for the average man or the average guy, it's just really hard here. I mean, it's easy if you're a top notch guy, very good looking, you make a lot of money, you make women tinkle. You're gonna get women regardless here in New York City. But you know, if you're an average guy, your time catching women is hard because your average woman, New York City is a 80-20 city, and that means 80% of women is sleeping around with 20% of the men, and that 80% of the woman is not sleeping with average men. She's sleeping with top-notch men. Therefore, that 80% of women, the 80% of men have to go for the 20% of women. And generally, the woman at 20%, she's either really, really hot, super, super hot, or very unattractive. But anyway, and again, most of these average women are between ages 18 and 35. They're in their formative reproductive and mating years. And those years are going to top-notch men. They're not going to average guys like myself. And generally, once women pass 35, they go for the average guys for marriage, or maybe he could help raise the kid, or maybe he could start a family, and so forth. You know, that's just a waste of time. So, I know for me, before I had my girlfriend, you know, I I used to like to, I still do, to travel overseas. Even going to Montreal in Canada is a good look to check out. So, um, so yeah, I really, recommend guys to go overseas, and I want to talk about, going overseas for women. And I've been to Europe, I've been to South America, the Caribbean, both sides of the U.S. borders, and the women are far different than in the States, you know. and that's a huge eye opener. But for most guys, especially you black men, you guys are gonna go to places that where the people probably look like you, for example, or that you might be more familiar with, and I'm sure you guys have like Brazil or Dominican Republic on your mind, and such similar places. But anyway, if you guys do go overseas, if you go into a country that does not speak English, you should try to learn the language. Spend a couple of months to learn Spanish or Portuguese or French, per se. Because if you don't know that that language of that country that you're going to visit, you really can't do much exploring. You have to depend on guides and aids to help you get around the country. If you're looking for a woman, you're not going to find that particular woman. You're going to end up sleeping with either women in brothels, sex workers, or maybe if you're lucky, a woman from the university, where at the university, learning English is a requirement in plenty of the universities in these countries in the Caribbean and such. Another thing is to try to learn about the country's history, the demographics. Also try to know about like the politics and economics of the country, because you need to know what's going on there, what's the situation on the ground, but don't talk about it. Try to avoid it because anti-Americanism is high, and that could probably cause trouble, and it's best to avoid trouble. A good example of this is in my parents' country of Guyana, and there was an election going on, and there was a political party that was socialist. It's pro-Cuban, pro-Venezuelan political party, and that party got defeated by a U.S.-backed political party, and there was a little tension on the ground. So, I'm happy that I've noticed that, and I was able to avoid animosity on the ground. But anyway, just enjoy your vacation, and try to stay and enjoy the people, and have as much fun as possible, and try to keep your money game on too. And once you go overseas, you can't go for any woman like an escort or a woman from a ghetto or whatnot. Um, Try to explore as much as you can. Like for me, for example, I love going to the countryside. I mean, countryside women are more friendly, nice, genuine, more laid back. Life is a bit slow, and the women are reserved. They're not really loaded with the feminism and the careerism and the education as they are in the capital cities. You know, their tone is a bit different than from women in the capital. A good example of this is when I was in Guyana. In Guyana, my father's nurse, my father was sick, so before he passed, I wanted to have some father and son time with him. And I met the nurse, and the nurse began to like me, and she grew on me. And she was from an area of Guyana called Berbice, and Berbice is like an area like not too far from Suriname, and that part of Guyana is known for beautiful women, and plenty of men go to that part of Guyana to look for a wife. That's like the countryside, and that's what that area is known for beautiful women. It's a very beach cultured area, and it's really known for women. And Men from Guyana, even from all over the world, go to that part of Guyana to look for a wife. And this woman, my father's nurse, she really liked me. She wanted to, she offered me to move to Guyana, settle down, build a family. She was dead serious. But I had to go back to the States. I had to work. I had a sick mom to see myself. And that was it. Another good example is when I was in DR. And at the airport, I met a woman. We exchanged contacts. She said that she's willing to cook for me and show me around. She was from La Vega, and La Vega's in the Campo. It's about like a hour and a half to 2 hour ride from Santo Domingo. And I didn't get a chance to see her because my stay was short, but I wish I did. But I did visit the Campo, but I really wanted to go to La Vega, but I didn't get a chance to. But I just want to let you know, guys, if you guys ever get a chance to travel, and if you're looking for a woman, please go to the countrysides if you can. Another set of women to look for. I mean, I have nothing against it. I don't support it or favor it. One thing I noticed is that the single moms in these countries are a little bit different than the single moms here in the States. Like here in the States, a single mom can always get a man. She could go to the club and she could do whatever. That single mom is no different than she was when she didn't have any kids. But in these developing countries, you know, if you become a single mom, you are a mark for the rest of your life. Like, what man's gonna want you? You're done, you're finished, and you'll be ostracized by a good part of society. And when I was in DR, the woman I met, she was a single mom. I met her daughter. Daughter's very, so beautiful little toddler. And this woman I was with, I'm not gonna give her name. Um, she was about building the best foundation for her child and for her future. And what I noticed is that, you know, here in the States, women have a lot of safety nets. In the developing countries, a lot of women do not have such, safety nets. I mean, one mistake and you're in trouble. One mistake, you're gonna have to go out in the street, hustle yourself to make ends meet, to pay rent, to feed your child. You can't go and ask your baby's father for money to feed the child because they don't have certain child support laws like they do here in the States. So that stuff is very scary. So this requires the woman to mature very quickly once they become a mom. They have to mature because it's not only them, it's also their child. So I really, enjoyed being with this particular woman. But she's not the only one. I've noticed other, single moms in the Dominican Republic who were just like that. They were very, very mature, friendly, looking to create and to build. They don't want a certain type of guy anymore. They were very serious and, looking for something more, which, I really liked. So that's one area of women to check for. Like I said, I'm not big on single moms. I don't support it. I'm not against it. But it's another area that you guys should check out. Let's see. Another set of women to go for if you're overseas are women, I can't say educated. I mean, educated women are good. I mean, they're alright. But at least a woman that has like a certain skill or a trade, like if she's into nursing, like like my father's nurse, for example, she was a nurse and that's what she, did for her living. Or in DR, the woman that I was seeing, she wanted to become a healthcare professional. She wasn't about being in careerist corporate office drones, and you do have office drones down there in those countries. You do have it. You do have people that sit behind cubicles. You have that cubicle culture down there. It's not only the U.S. that has it. That thing is very deep in those developing countries, and you know, I'm not sure if I could be with a woman that's like an office drone. I'm, I don't think I could do it because it's all about their career, and if you add the education, forget it. Another woman that I like are the entrepreneurial women, and I want to give an example of this. A guy that I know, a former colleague of mine, he went to DR and he met a woman, and that woman owned her own hair salon, and she also owned a pedicure and manicure salon as well. She was very, very entrepreneurial, and he ended up marrying the woman. I mean, that was a good look, but you know, people think lots of guys go, to these countries and they think women are stupid. These women are very smart. They're very intelligent, and you can't fool these women. You know, my colleague didn't have much to offer this woman, and this woman ended up divorcing, my colleague, my friend, and she kept it moving because this guy doesn't have anything to offer. He's 50 something and she's 35 and she still looks good for her age. I met her. She has a nice body for her age, nice butt, nice shape. I was really enamored by her beauty. But no. So, you guys, once you go overseas, don't take women for granted. Try to come with an open mind, try to have some sort of integrity, and try to be, honest to the best of your human ability because they're going to show you the honesty back. Another thing is, what I find difficult is to find women from a wealthy family. Like, you do have wealthy people out there, you have wealthy families, and don't get me wrong, as an American, when you go overseas, you're well off more than most people in that country are visiting. But you do have wealthy people, you have wealthy families, and wealthy people stick with other wealthy people, locally and abroad. So most of those wealthy people, the wealthy women won't be checking for you. They're not gonna check for you unless you have some sort of wealth. No wealth, no pussy. Another thing is colorism. You gotta be worried about colorism. I'm gonna say this again. White is right. Light is right. I'm a light skinned man. 2/3 black, 1/3 white. I have a very, very fair complexion. And in Guyana, in DR, in Brazil, I was getting women. Not an issue. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're a black guy and you go to these places, I mean, women don't mind, but the reality is, most of these women are checking for a guy that's white or the guy that's light. They're not checking for a black guy to a certain degree, unless if you have something to give. like money or a possibility of a passport coming, overseas. And much of this colorism runs deep due to years of Spanish, British, Portuguese, French colonialism. So if you're a black guy and you're going overseas, try to have your money game up as possible because you're gonna have to use that money to get that woman to come abroad or to marry her there or whatnot. I'm not too familiar with Asia, like the Southeast or Central Asia. I would love to go to Central Asia. I find, you know, the women of the stands to be very beautiful. They got that mix of Russian, Arabic, Mongol, Persian, Chinese mix going on. That's hot. But I'm not really too familiar with Asia. I have not yet been to the Asian continent. Hopefully, I can. But I have a girlfriend now, so Thailand's not her thing. But anyway, I just hope this helps. And I will be doing a part two about that part two should be about it will be about if you should move or she or I mean if you move to her country or she moves to your country. That will be the part two, and I will be discussing pros and cons about that. But with that said, subscribe and like.